photosynthesis. And that's why it is the UNFCCC has termed it as the net zero source of energy. And it is, of course, a low cost option, as has already been told. And when we add it as a pursuer substitute in the high efficiency coal-fired boiler, so we are taking care of the emission part of it, which otherwise requires some of the participants. May I request other participants to mute themselves, please?
Yeah.
May I request others to mute themselves, please?
यही ऑफिस आज बंद है तो नीचे सब लोग अपने को म्यूट कर दें. जो other than speakers, everybody is supposed to be on mute system, please.
Yeah, I think it's all right now. Thank you. So, what are the benefits from the biomass energy? Can that be done from the administrator side, muting others? Probably now it's okay. Thank you. Not yet. Yeah. So it is carbon neutral, as has already been discussed. It can utilize the existing infrastructure of coal-fired plants. So no hardware modification is required for at least 10% of co-firing. So the existing thermal power plants can be utilized. It is a method of GHG reduction. I won't go details of it. If we co-fire at least 5% in the thermal power plant, so we can co-fire at least 35 to 40 million ton of biomass in place of coal. So that much amount of coal firing can be reduced, and if we increase the proportion, so that can be improved. So that means that much reduction in the imported coal consumption that we can consider. We can supplement the renewable sources, because along with the renewable source capacity addition of other sources like thermal, solar and wind, this can be a unique source by which the existing infrastructure can be used. And most importantly, it is a source of income generation for the MSMEs, farmers, which is basically promoting Atmanirbhar Bharat, because the construction of the plants and other things all can be done indigenously. So it also promotes Atmanirbhar Bharat. So there are so many good things for it. So that's why it has already been included, as you all know, in the budget speech by our Honorable Finance Minister in the last year's budget speech. So, and that also speaks about the reduction of carbon emission in a financial year. So that is the target. So if we see the total biomass availability, it is 750 million tons surplus biomass. So after catering to the all existing requirement, we all know what are the existing requirements of biomass. So 230 million tons per annum, and the power potential from it is 28 gigawatt. And this graph is actually showing the total generation and biomass utilization and what is the surplus biomass potential. More or less, we can find that in most of the states, the biomass is sufficiently available to use it in the thermal power plants. So this is a biomass ecosystem, just for an understanding purpose. It starts from cutting in the field, then it goes to the racking, then it's making the baling. So this is the part which can be done at the farm field. Then it can be stacked whether near the farm field, or it can be stacked near the pellet manufacturer's end. Then the processing and pelletization, transportation, and then it is feeding to the plant. And the last four diagrams which shows what is happening in the plant, where it is being co-fired with the coal in the thermal power plants. So what is the benefit for these stakeholders from it? So there are basically three stakeholders in it: GenCos, pellet manufacturers, small entrepreneurs, and farmers. So what are the benefits for the GenCos? So it's a handy solution where for renewable power generation without any infrastructure change, reducing the dependability on coal. Because these merit order dispatch case, the biomass cost is not taken into consideration. So the GENCOs can have the opportunity of higher rank in merit order dispatch, lesser carbon footprint for any power station, and also it is considered under the RPO by the guidelines of MNRE. For the pellet manufacturer, small entrepreneurs, it's a lucrative business, blue ocean business strategy, huge opportunity. Various government schemes are there for financial assistance and setting up the pellets. I will briefly go into those. And it's an opportunity for being a part of India's journey to green energy transition. For the farmers, it ensures additional income source for farmers through selling of agro residue. Presently, the farmers, or maybe 1 or 2 years back, farmers were not earning anything from it. It's an employment generation opportunity. It improves the soil health when somebody is burning the biomass in the field. So it is basically destroying the soil health because of the high heat. So it is also improving that, and it is helping the farmers to clear the land for the next crop at no cost. I believe some of the lines are coming at the bottom of the presentation, red lines, but those were not originally there. Maybe some of the error or system error, I don't understand, but probably it is not obstructing the view. So then I'm going ahead with it only. So with the biomass co-firing, we can switch from the problem of existing biomass burning in the field to the solution. What are the problems by burning biomass in the field? That is the pollution of the air, inviting diseases, wastage of huge resource of energy, and decreasing soil fertility. And what are the benefits? It's a source of income for small entrepreneurs, farmers. It's retains soil fertility, it is reducing pollution, and also it is generating green energy. If we see the market scenario for 10% biomass co-firing, that is the minimum percentage which is technically feasible today for the non-torrefied pellets. The total estimated surplus we have found that 230 million metric ton, and the requirement for 10% co-firing is 70 million metric ton. That is the pellet requirement. If we see the raw biomass, that can maximum go up to 100 million metric ton. So for 10% co-firing, we have sufficient amount or quantity of biomass availability for farmers. It's a serviceable market of 15,000 to 20,000 crore rupees. That's the minimum, with rupees 2 to 2.5 per kg of agro residue selling price. For the pellet manufacturer, it's a serviceable market of 49,000 to 56,000 crore rupees, considering the cost of 7 to 8 rupees per kg of pellet. And it can generate 100 billion unit of generation from the biomass. So the total available market for the power sector from the biomass co-firing is minimum 65,000 crores. So this is only to show the magnitude which it can impact on the income or revenue generation for the different stakeholders. The torrefaction part, which Member Thermal has also already been mentioned, presently whatever biomass we are producing or manufacturing, 99% of them are non-torrefied. But if we can torrefy it, we can change dramatically the quality of the pellet, where the advantage, it is basically heating the biomass at 250 to 300 degrees centigrade without oxygen, which call it pyrolysis, and making it coal-like material. So what is the advantage of torrefaction? It can improve the GCB, it makes it brittle, it can make biomass pellet hydrophobic. Otherwise, it is very hygroscopic. So it can reduce the volatile content, it can reduce ignition temperature. So many of the problems of the biomass pellet can be improved. And with this biomass torrefaction, we can get a better quality of pellet and improve the percentage of biomass co-firing. So what are the steps that we took so far by the Minister of Power, Government of India? They have taken proactive steps for last few years. In continuation to that, the National Mission on Use of Biomass has been formed in July 2021, which is all today named as SAMARTH, which is basically the acronym of the objective of the biomass mission, Sustainable Agrarian Mission on Use of Agro Residue in Thermal Power Plants. That is basically the acronym, and that is the objective of the mission. It consists of the steering committee, the executive committee, and mission directorate. One steering committee, which is headed by none other than Honorable Secretary, Union Secretary Power, the executive committee headed by Member Thermal CA, and the mission directorate, which I am heading. We have got 5 number of subgroups, which are headed by senior level personnel from government and CPSUs, which are taking care of R&D, technical specification and safety aspects, supply chain, testing, and regulatory issues. So all different aspects are being taken care by the biomass mission. So after formation of this, the policy has been issued in October 2021, which was mandating 5% to 7% of biomass pellet made primarily of agro residue along with coal. But keeping in view the demand of the market, the addendum to this policy has been released in May 2023, which is also allowing bamboo pellet along with the agro residue and horticultural waste. So there is a wide range of opportunity for manufacturing of pellet. And the RPO guidelines, which is issued by MNRE, which says that the power generated by co-firing of biomass is a renewable energy and it is eligible for meeting renewable purchase obligation. So we can briefly understand what are the action at this moment the farmers can initiate. First, of course, stopping burning crop residue because it will be a wastage of resources, adopting modern methods of harvesting and sowing crops, taking advantage of different government schemes and making money by selling crops. The collective actions of the APOs, because many of you are connected with the APOs. So APOs have a very, very big role to play here. They can take part in the aggregation collection of agro residue to the farmer groups or cooperative, or active utilization of customer hiring centers they can do, because there the farm machineries are available. So they can be taken on rent, temporary basis, and those can be utilized for aggregation and collection methodology. And APOs or farmers can also form cooperatives to manufacture, to set up biomass pellet plants for biomass pellet manufacturing, and that can be sold to the thermal power stations because there is various opportunities, and they can also take part in the storage of agro residues. What are the initiatives taken by Samarth Mission so far? If we start from technical assistance, so we are coordinating with all the GENCOs who were having biomass apprehension about biomass co-firing in their thermal power plants. Since the start of this mission, there are only 7 power stations of NTPC which had started biomass co-firing. Today, we have got 47 power stations in the country after formation of the mission who have started biomass co-firing. So 40 is the power station, and these are those 40 power stations who were initially having apprehension about biomass co-firing, what harm it is going to do in their plants. So those apprehensions are being removed by technical handholding, and it is a continual process. So we are carrying out the monitoring part of it, action by the GENCOs of biomass usage and tendering. We have got labs and certified bodies for testing of biomass itself. So NTPC and CPRI have taken the initiative for this. NTPC labs are equipped with biomass testing, and also the CPRI are setting up labs for this. We have got 14 numbers of NEBL accredited test labs in the country who can carry out, and these test labs names are available on our website. For ease of doing business, the single window clearance is in the final step. So the single window clearance for this biomass plant setup is going to come any day. The priority sector lending for this biomass pellet manufacturing business has been declared by the Reserve Bank of India. So of course, it is going to benefit the pellet manufacturer in terms of financial loans are concerned. For training and awareness, we have been carrying out extensive training, awareness, advertising, banners and hoardings in different states. I will come to that. The research and development part, which is very, very important, as my member Thamal Sahab has already mentioned. We have got 12 numbers of research projects which is under progress by CPRE, by different organizations consisting of NEBE, NTPC, Punjab Agriculture University. They are carrying out, and some of the research projects have been taken up by the Department of Science and Technology. They have identified 8 projects, and which is also going to start very, very soon. We have got an interactive website where different kind of relevant information are available, and the database which is available about the CPBOs, APOs and pellet manufacturers, which we can share whoever requests it. So if we see the government schemes, there is MSME cluster development program from where the financial schemes, financial assistance can be sought. Details of them can be obtained. The MSME Prime Minister Employment Generation Program is there. From the Ministry of Agriculture, submission of agricultural mechanization, that scheme is there. We have got MNRE biomass program where they are giving grant for installation of biomass plant for the entire country. There is a limit on the basis of ton per hour. We have got exclusive loan scheme from national banks. SBI has come up with a new scheme with our insistence, with a new scheme for financing exclusively biofuel projects, and many other government banks are coming up with the same line. And we have got CPCB grant scheme for NCR based pellet plants, where somebody can install pellet plants in the NCR states, and for which they can get grant from CPCB. This is just a number to show you the potential. If you see the total pellet required in these 3 states, the third row from the bottom, you see for 7% co-firing, you require not less than 10 million, or in the level of 9 to 10 million ton of biomass is required per year. And if you see the ton per day, the figure comes around 24,000-25,000 in these 3 states. In the entire country, it is minimum 1 lakh ton per day, and even at the cost of modification, I would like to mention that today the pellet manufacturing capacity in the country is merely 7,000 ton per day. So that is the gap. It is basically 7% of the entire requirement of the country. So their mass usage so far is one.
Breaking.
Naksar, your voice is gone. Hello. Naksar, आपकी voice break हो रही है. I think there is some problem with the internet connection at your end.
Am I audible now?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. Actually, 69 the market. That's why the presentation is, because the picture says 1,000 words. So even my voice is not going, the picture is going to everybody, I believe. Am I audible, or my voice is breaking?
Yes,
yes,
audible.
you are audible.
Audible. You are audible. Wonderful, sir.
Okay. Right. So some of the awareness programs for the different stakeholders, till date we have carried out 13 numbers of farmers awareness programs in different states. If we see the awareness program for pellet manufacturing, that is also 13 in different states. And if we see the program for GENCOs, that is 10 numbers. So in total today, we have carried out 42 numbers of thermal power awareness programs, and covering 17 states, which are the most relevant states where the thermal power stations are located and where biomass co-firing is possible. This information is available, and to add to that, we have a link in our website whereby each pellet vendor can give an offer of their availability of pellet with the calorific value and the cost and the duration of availability. So that is available to everybody. So any GENCO or any procurer can purchase pellet from them. Of course, it is not tendering. If they can do it bilaterally, so they can contact directly, because all the information for the vendor is available, and vendors are entering the data themselves. So it is basically for information sharing to all. So this is already there, and I understand that till date 22 numbers of such offers are existing, mostly for non-purified pellets, along with cost and feed value. What are the key developments in the sector so far? We have issued revised biomass policy, we have already mentioned. We have issued a long-term model contract from the government. MOP has been issued, which is basically showing the payment part of, taking care of the payment part of it, escalation of model, the price of it for the 7 years, because it's a 7 years recommended model contract, where the different indexation parameters are given. So we have started this, we have with the help of GEM, we have prepared a customized window for biomass pellet procurement through GEM, and Divis is the first company who have procured this biomass pellet through GEM. So this also another option. The pellet manufacturing activity I mentioned has been approved by PSL as PSL by RBI. 47 numbers of thermal power plants today have co-fired. Cumulative biomass co-firing I have mentioned. Total 42 capacity buildings program carried out. Lending and grant scheme by MNRE and CPCB. These are formulated and supported by our mission itself. 12 numbers of research programs in progress. There was no IS standards for biomass testing earlier. It was the solid fuel testing standard was being followed, but with the BIS we have taken up, and 12 numbers of IS standards for biomass testing has also been issued. We have issued standard operating procedure for all the thermal power stations in the country, and 14 numbers of NABL testing labs identified. But with all such activities, even today, there are a lot of things to do. We need to bridge the gap between the huge demand of biomass in the GENCOs and the availability of it, and of course, to set up the biomass ecosystem and the supply chain part of it. So we need to focus. First of all, we need to think that biomass should be developed as a key substitute for coal. So we should develop and standardize collection, aggregation, and storage facilities for raw biomass. I believe that if the state governments come forward, that will also be a very good help for all the entrepreneurs and farmers or FPOs for this. The pellet manufacturing is to be developed. There is no question of it. Mr. Sanjay, you have already mentioned about it. Pellet manufacturing is to be developed. We need to find out the different ways how it can be done, which is a very integral part of the supply chain management, because we need to remove the dichotomy where the raw biomass is available, the demand is available, but we are not able to meet the requirement of the both. The machine manufacturers today are the numbers are limited. So it is required that the standardization of machine manufacturers and more number of machine manufacturers should come. We have taken up with different organizations, but let's see how they respond. So they can also take up this pellet manufacturing, how they can take up this pellet manufacturing machine setup activities. These FPOs need to be engaged. Whoever have contact with FPOs or associated with FPOs, the FPOs are to be engaged for development of this supply chain, backward linkages, and setting up of pellet plants, because they are the owners of the plants, of the farms, and they can support this sector a big way. The regulatory issues which are being raised by different GENCOs, so those resolution of these regulatory issues by SCRCs, there are communications also need to be taken up individually with the SCRC or the procurer. The collection and storage center in association with APMC and FPOs, that needs to be taken care. Here is another area where the state government support will be very, very helpful. We have already taken up with the Ministry of Agriculture, but parallelly, you can also take up with the state agriculture department, how they can help here. The block level awareness program, it is also very important. We have carried out awareness programs at different levels, at district levels or the state levels. But block level awareness program, individually, it can be done. Technical support we can give, but some resource or the manpower support, I think it will be required from your side. The utilization of customer hiring center for machineries, because customer hiring center can support with the farm machineries for aggregation and collection. The farmer should be given technical assistance or hand-holding in the collection, aggregation, and transportation mechanism. I believe the KVKs can play a very, very important role in it. And most importantly, or last but not the least, this price benchmarking we have already discussed. This has already been taken up, as member Thermal C has already mentioned, and it is also going to come, but it will have its own process. It will take some time, but till that time, we have communicated all the GENCOs so that they can take up with the procurement action, both with long-term and also with short-term procurement or tendering action. So I believe this is also going to support the market or ecosystem. This much from my side. Thank you for your patience hearing. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Sudeep Nag sir. You as a director, Biomass Mission of India, seem to be doing a wonderful job. Thank you very much again, Praveen Gupta sir. As a policy maker, you are giving very right directions. मैं आप लोगों को एक एश्योरेंस करना चाहूंगा, देयर इज अनदर इंस्टीट्यूशन बाय गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया अगेन कॉल्ड एग्रीफेड. एग्रीफेड जो आप लोग कर रहे हैं उसी के लिए फुल्ली कमिटेड है. wherever the gaps are there, Agrifed is fully committed to bridge those gaps and to ensure, as you rightly said, the pellet manufacturing takes up, farmers are trained, and you being the power producer, the great power producer of the country, your focus remains on producing the power. Rest of the logistics, like arranging the biomass or the pellets or briquettes at your doorstep, will be willingly done by the Agrifed. With this, now I invite a very important speaker representing the entire private power sector of the country, Mr. Anil Kumar Pandey, Managing Director, Jindal Power Limited. Another very important, after the NTPC, I think Jindal Power ranks, if I hope I am correct, the ranks number 2 in terms of producing the power. So I invite Sri Anil Kumar Pandey, a hardcore engineer who has spent his lifetime in producing power in thermal plants only. So Mr. Anil Kumar Pandey, Managing Director, Jindal Power Limited. Yeah. Sir, so, Anil sir, you have to represent the entire private power producing industry here and tell these policy makers what exactly is required so that you also use the biomass in a great quantity. Over to you, sir.
So thank you, Sanjay, and good morning to everyone connected on this platform. Respected Honorable Minister Jayaprakash Dalalji, senior officers from government, respected Sri Praveen Gupta ji, member Thermal CEA, my own friend and director mission Samarth Sudeep Nag ji, Jaskaran Singh ji, Victor ji. I could see Robin Sajdev also, but I'm not finding him, his visual pictures here. But everyone connected on this platform, it's very, very nice to really arrange such a seminar, which is the need of the hour. And I must congratulate Sanjay and the entire Agrifed team, which has really taken the initiative to discuss what actually is ailing the sector. Yes, we all know that as a country, we are primarily a coal-based power producing country. More than 70% of our power is coming through coal. And we are consuming in our coal-based power plants more than 700 million tons of coal every year. Government also feels that, yes, there is a shortage of coal and we must be importing close to 6% of our requirement. So that means there is a government mandate that 42 million tons of imported coal is supposed to be used in the coal-based power plants. But the irony is that while we are having, as Gupta Sahab was telling, that we are having close to 250 million tons of biomass available with us, which can give us biomass pellets, which can be used in our coal-based power plants, but we are not able to use. And there is no technical problem, as Sir was telling, that yes, we can easily blend. 5% blending has already been tested. We can go for 10% blending also. There will be smaller hiccups, which of course the technical team led by Mr. Sudeep Nag is trying to solve those problems also for all the power stations. So on technical side, I don't find much of a reason. But on administrative side, yes, there are reasons which are really keeping us a little away from achieving our targets. What are those enablers which, as policymakers, I think all the issues which I could foresee has already been now discussed, and the biggest issue that I was able to see was on the pricing side, because every time NTPC tried to go for tenders, and every time we ended up, getting a very low price for one bidder, and we tried to implement the same price for all the bidders, and that's how it became unworkable, and we could not use it. So, despite being demand for pellets and despite being availability of the biomass, we really could not achieve. And this forum, which is really the biggest forum for policymakers like Gupta Saab, Sudeep Nag ji, and the people from Agrifed, definitely is going to solve the problem. But when we talk of, for me, more than a private producer, I put myself as an individual, as a citizen of this country. whose problem we are trying to solve? Are we going to solve the problem of the generator, or we are trying to solve the problem of the farmer, or we are solving the problem of the machine manufacturer? Probably here only the whole problem got twisted. While essentially we said that we are going to solve the problem of the farmer, but we ended up creating a, what I can say is, some kind of dichotomy that we tried to push on the generator side. Okay, you use it 5%, but we really did not help the farmer in remunerative prices. Once the pricing issue is settled, and for me, in fact, in my discussions, I was always telling that biomass should be just compared based on the cost of the imported coal. Imported coal today in the country for most power stations is close to 2.4 to 2.5 rupees per MKL, per 1000 kilocalorie. That is the landed cost of the imported coal for most of the power station. So can we say that, okay, to the extent of the cost of the landed price of the imported coal, the generators are supposed to buy biomass pellets maybe at 90% of the cost without going for any tendering? They can just put a board that anybody who is going to supply pellets can supply at 90% of the cost. So that will solve much of the problems. There will be many such entrepreneurs who will come, they will manufacture, because that is what is going to be the remunerative price, and that also can be the benchmark prices. So if we can link it to the international prices of the coal, that is definitely is the benchmark. In any case, the generators are paying that cost. So why don't we pay that cost to our own farmers, so that they are, this figure of 15,000 crores, 20,000 crores, yes, it's a figure, and this is going to come. But how this is going to come is basically the question. So for me, as a citizen, more than a generator, or more than, on this side, I look at this problem only from the perspective of the farmers. We should be willing to solve the problem of the farmers first, then comes the problem of environment, and then comes the problem of generators. So farmers' problem solution can come with fair pricing, which Gupta Sahab has already told that it is going to come. From the generator side, I can only say that while it is very easy for those generators who are having the PPA arrangement and everything is on a pass-through regime, they can pass through, they can definitely use it. But for generators who are in the competitive prices, like we, 80% of our power is going in the market, and we have to compete with many other, same kind of players. So there things start becoming a problem. So the enforcement of a minimum percentage of biomass, I think, is a must. Then only the merit order for all generators will remain same. Sometimes it so happens that some of the generators are not following, some of the generators are following. So those who follow, it becomes a disincentive for them. So my request would be that,
तो कल मैं गाड़ी घुमाते हुए उधर से आ जाऊंगा, है ना? मैं आज तो स्टे कर रहा हूँ, कल ऐसा करूंगा, सवेरे 8 बजे निकलूंगा.
So I think
10 बजे
Sanjay, you have to take command, and you have to keep everyone on mute except the speaker. So, sir, technically, I don't find any reason for not using it. We can do easily up to 10%, absolutely no problem. We have also seen how one mill can be dedicated for this pellet firing, and we can do it. Only issue remains on the pricing side and the compensation to the generator on use of this biomass. I think these are the two issues, which of course I find that the CA is also seized and the mission directorate is also seized. And in the days to come, we are going to see, better policy environment in the country, which will enable us to definitely use minimum 5%, and in the days to come to go to the figure of 10%. That is the dream for this country. So my best wishes to the entire team, and I'm sure that we are going to achieve it. On the technology front, as Mr. Nag was telling, that is, there requires to be certain standard on the machines also, because the machines today which are available, there is absolutely no benchmarking. Some machines are using very high power consumption to produce the pellets. We also have bought 3-4 machines, but we find, the reliability part is very, very poor. So there has to be certain kind of specs for those machines. What has to be the power consumption pattern of pellet produced? So I think Mr. Victor is there who will be giving us much more insight on this thing. So I will be basically a learner on this platform to understand how really on the manufacturing side we can have better machines to give the best of the output, and also from the policy side how we can start sourcing the raw material and start using the biomass pellets. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Sri Anil Kumar Pandey, Managing Director, Jindal Power Limited. He has also given very valuable insights. Now I would like to move to AGM NTPC Sri Gurpreet Singh, who somehow is not visible here, who's the person who's actually handling the fuel management affairs of NTPC. So now Sri Gurpreet Singh ji here, who has been working very, very hard. He has floated many tenders also for procurement of biomass, for ensuring the supply of the pellets and briquettes to NTPC. So now let us listen to the views of Sri Gurpreet Singh, General Manager, NTPC, Noida, who's doing day in, day out massive work on this procurement of pellets. Sir.
A very good morning to all. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Most respected Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Jayaprakash Dalal, who is going to join shortly. Mr. Parveen Gupta, Member Thermal CA. Mr. Sudeep Naksar, Mission Director, Samarth Mission. And other speakers, Mr. Pandey sir, Mr. Subhash Chandra, Mr. Victor, and all the people who have joined today in this webinar. First of all, I must congratulate Agrifed and for organizing this webinar, because it's very, very important to conduct such programs for the development of the sector. I'm basically looking after sourcing of gas, biomass, and limestone in the NTPC. So day in, day out, we are facing so many issues related to biomass. So I had made a small presentation. If you allow me, I can share it. It will just take 5 to 10 minutes to share those slides. The Naksar has covered almost everything. So little left for us to share. And at the cost of repetition, I'll just share a few slides if you allow. Is it visible? My slide is visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead with this.
Yes, sir, visible. Yes, sir, visible.
So I'll take you a little back to the National Bioenergy Program in India, which aims to promote the production and utilization of bioenergy as a sustainable and renewable energy source. The program basically covers almost everything related to biomass, like biofuels, biogas, biomass power generation, and biomass-based cogeneration. In biofuels, the covering this means like blending of biofuels with conventional fuels. Then it's like ethanol and biodiesel. In biogas, they are covering converting organic waste into generation of biogas, basically in rural areas. Then biomass-based cogeneration, where the biomass is used for in agriculture sector, where heat and power is produced in cogeneration manner. And then biomass power generation, which we are focusing today, like how to co-fire this biomass in our existing power plants. Biomass co-firing is expected to play a significant role in India's renewable energy mix also. The government aims to increase the share of biomass power generation and has set targets for capacity addition. So it needs a continual investment. It needs a improvement in supply chain infrastructure. It also needs a policy support from the government level. So these are the certain policy timelines which Nagsar has already told. This all started in November 17 when first policy on biomass co-firing is initiated by Ministry of Power. And there are certain, and MNRE has notified this biomass power. In December 19, CRC has developed methodology to estimate electricity generated from biomass co-firing. Then May 21, MOP has set up this Smart mission. October 21, MOP revised policy on biomass co-firing, and then September 21, CACAM directed coal thermal power plants in Delhi NCR to co-fire the biomass. So some of the policy amendments, like Nagsar has already told, that it has increased from 5% to 7%. Earlier it was 5%, then it has increased to 7%. But ball and tube mills, it is still 5%. Another policy amendment happens recently where bamboo and its byproduct like bamboo chips, cuttings, bamboo dust, horticulture waste such as dry leaves. These are all, and this pine cone needle and elephant grass and sarkanda. These are also included as a raw material for manufacturing of biomass pellets. So benefits, as already we know, that it will reduce CO2 emission, it will reduce sector dependence on coal, production of electricity from resource which is earlier being wasted, income generation for farmers. A lot of income can be generated for farmers, preservation of soil cultures, and reduction in air pollution. So these are the advantage of using biomass co-firing. But what is the advantage of using pellets? Co-firing in the form of pellets, because it is energy cost will be significantly reduced if we compare with the imported coals. Then better burning efficiency due to uniform shape and size is one of the aspects which you can see for firing biomass pellets. Then replacement of fossil fuel, and it can be manufactured locally using abundant biomass waste. So this is the data I have taken from Smart. Like total co-firing happens in India is around 109,814 million tons. Out of that, 44,000 done in NCR region. So out of this, NTPC has done around, major portion is done by NTPC stations. So this biomass is also used in other sectors also. And these sectors are giving competition to power plants. Like people we have given orders, they are giving biomass to our power plants. They are diverting this to the other sectors like pharma, textile, color dyeing industries and food processing industries. So a lot of biomass is diverted to that area, like biomass pellets and briquettes, both are diverted into those sectors. And we are not getting the required quantity in the power plant. And that is because of some price differentiation happening between the industries, these industries and the power industry. So if we see the option of co-firing in the boiler, there are many multiple options how we can fire this biomass in our boilers. Like option one is that we can fire these pellets in the coal mill, and then it will go to coal burners and to the boiler. Other option is that we can fire biomass. We can send biomass to biomass mill and then to biomass burner, and then it will go to boiler. And one more option is that we mix coal and biomass, and then we send it to coal mills and then to the boiler. So if you see, there are multiple options of using this biomass in the boiler. The first option, where we are sending the 100% biomass pellet milling in coal mills. from this option, we can have a better co-firing ratio. We can achieve better co-firing ratio. But if we have to restrict to 5 to 7%, then option 2 is better, where we co-mill this biomass pellet. This coal and biomass is sent to coal mills, and then it goes to boiler. So option 2 is better in that. If you see why we are just firing 5 to 10% of the pellets in the boiler. That is because it has low ignition temperature, high volatile content. It has fibrous nature, so there's a difficulty in milling also. Low ash fusion temperature, so it has lagging tendency due to high alkali content and higher ratios of chlorides. And corrosive tendency is also there in the biomass pellet. So because of these reasons, we are not able to increase the percentage of co-firing. For this, if we have to increase the percentage in co-firing, then we have to go for torrefied pellets, which is a little immature stage at present. So technology is not mature to produce torrefied pellet at present. So I will share the Dadri experience. The first co-firing happened in Dadri, from where the people have gained confidence that these biomass pellets can be co-fired in the boilers. It happened in 3 stages and started in September 2017. In the first step, 5% pellets are fired in one mill of 210 megawatt unit. In the second step, 10% pellets are fired through one mill. Then after observing the results on these two ratios, we have gone for firing 10% pellets in the 4 mills in unit full load operation. Then based on the experience, then we have designed our handling system, storage system, and developed a full-fledged system for firing biomass pellet in Dadri. Then in 2018, these pellets were co-fired. In 2020, in fact, pellets are co-fired in the 500 megawatt unit at Dadri also. So if we see the analysis of the firing, means like what happens in the boiler, how it affects the boiler in that ratios. So there is negligible decrease in boiler efficiency, that is 0.33%, decrease in unburned carbon, and there is slight increase in mill power because we have to restrict the mill load and mill outlet temperatures. So if we see the scale of opportunity, this we require at India level, we require at least 1 lakh metric ton per day, and it can generate employment of 1 lakh jobs, and farmers can earn in crores from this producing biomass pellets. This is the plant-wise requirement of NTPC, and you can see that we require, this is in ton per day, and this is for this quantity for 7 years as with 7% ratio. So you can see that our Kahalgaon, Korba, Yamagundam, Rihan, Sipat, Talcher, Vidyachal all require more than 2,000 ton per day. And total, if you see, we require 40,000 ton per day for co-firing of biomass pellets. So the potential is huge. And we are putting all out effort in sourcing this 40,000 megawatt, 40,000 ton per day of pellets, but we are not successful till now. We have placed orders of 45 lakh ton metric ton till now, but we have received only 1 lakh metric ton. So these orders are placed in the form of short-term orders, long-term orders, medium-term orders. See this. So we have adopted all sort of strategies, like we place short-term orders, we place long-term orders of 7 years, 4 years, 12 months. Still, we are not able to meet our requirement. So other initiative what NTPC have taken for increasing this availability of the biomass pellet. So first thing, we have demonstrated this 10% co-firing. Then we have relaxed the qualifying requirement in the tenders. We want anybody can come and set up a plant and start supplying to our plants. So we have relaxed those standards. Now it has come in the model contract also. So 15% quantity has been reserved for Punjab bidders to decrease the stubble burning in this season. Then we have conducted open competitive challenge, green charcoal hackathon for inviting innovative development of clarification technology. Then we have conducted so many awareness programs also. So if you see the qualifying requirement, it is just that applicant should be 21 years of age and is an Indian national or a company, and means nothing is required, no AMD is required. Simply anybody can come and establish a plant and start supplying. And if we are expecting that this receipt will increase in the future, and we have to have a full-fledged system of unloading the biomass handling system. Presently, we are getting around 5 truck or 10 truck a day in some of the stations. But as this number increase, then we need a mechanized system. So we have designed this system, and we are starting implementing some of our station. In this is silo type system, and where a truck tripler will be there, then bulk receiving unit, which with the help of bucket elevator, the biomass pallet will go to this silos, and then from the help of conveyors, it will go to the mixing conveyor. So this is how we are going to design. We are going to implement this unloading system in most of our plant, but that will happen as the receive of biomass pallet will increase. So technical specs also means like it is a part of model contract now. So this is a technical specs just for the information purpose. And long-term contract, we have kept a price escalation formula also. The various component of that price escalation formula is like it is linked to diesel, electricity, food articles, and labor. The weight is almost similar, same for all the components, and there is one fixed component of 15%. So we have tried to cover the price escalation in the long-term contracts, but we see that raw material prices fluctuating very much. So we are finding that this formula is not able to cover the increasing price of raw materials. So the initiative of price benchmarking, which is happening at the CA level and the Smart Mission level, so that can greatly help in getting biomass in large quantities. And if that comes, we hope that the things will improve.
May I interfere once, Mr. Gurpreet?
Yes,
actually, please, for the previous slide.
Yes, sir.
Please go back to this escalation is the old one. There is a revised model contract which has been issued where this raw material price has been taken care of. I think this has been issued in the month of March, I believe, March 23, where this raw material escalation has been taken care of. It is
so that will go into our new tenders now, sir. And this is what we have covered in our awarded contracts.
Right. This is for information to all of them. That's what I'm telling.
Yeah. Right, sir. So limitation we have all talked about, that infrastructure is not ready. We are not robust to get to handle this requirement. So we need around 1 lakh ton per day of biomass pallet, but manufacturing capacity is only 7,000 tons per day. So despite we have 230 million tons of surplus residue, so there is a huge gap, and this is seasonal also. So we need to have a robust infrastructure to handle this large quantity of biomass so that it can reach to power plants.
यहाँ पर सर मैं एक चीज सॉरी जस्ट
बताइए सर.
आई फील वेरी इंट्रिग्ड टू स्पीक. ये जो आपका 1 लाख टन पर डे का टारगेट है, इसी टारगेट को हेल्प करने के मीट करने के लिए सर एग्रीफेड इज फुल्ली कमिटेड. हम लोग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल कैपेसिटीज, ट्रेनिंग्स, बायोमास का एग्रीगेशन, उसके बेलर फॉर्मेशन, हर स्टेप बाय स्टेप एग्रीफेड फुल्ली कमिटेड होके इसी पे काम कर रही है. एंड आई कैन एश्योर यू कि एग्रीफेड आपके इस टारगेट को जो 1 लाख टन डेली पैलेट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का है, बहुत जल्दी आपके साथ मिलके आपको इस टारगेट को अचीव करने में, कंट्री को इस टारगेट को मीट करने में बहुत इफेक्टिव कंट्रीब्यूशन करेगी। सॉरी सर, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
सर आपने बिल्कुल सही बोला है। एक्चुअली जो सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट है, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, and that if that part is taken care by Agrifed and such organizations, so certainly it will help and help the pellet manufacturers to have this biomass raw material in their factories, and they can produce in large numbers, and they can also realize good profits from those manufacturing.
Yeah.
So we need a support, sir. Conclusions, I can just sum out that we need a policy support from government, as government is also helping us with the time to time changes in the policy. Now we are looking up to government regarding price benchmarking, that can greatly help. So we have to do some R&D work also. How we can reduce alkali and chloride content in the biomass pellets, and how we can increase the firing ratio. So that type of project we have to take, and I think Smart is taking those projects. And like I said, that we have to have large scale biomass collection and processing infrastructures where the Agrifed can greatly help. So means like large number of machines are required, because the window is very short, the collection window is very short, so large number of machines are required, so that maximum amount of raw biomass can be collected. And then along with this collection, we need to have a storage facilities also, and this should be a distributed storage, so that this can be stored safely, and then it can be used when it is required. And again, then funding schemes, as North is taking up with the government, and they are also designing the funding schemes, also always help for putting up the projects. So sir, this is all from my side. We are looking to Smurf, we are looking to Agrifed, we are looking to other farmers organizations for helping this biomass pellet manufacturing market, so that NTPC can get the required quantities and meet the guidelines of the government. Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू वेरी मच गुरप्रीत सर। इससे पहले कि मैं आगे जाऊं, अभी ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर श्री कुलदीप सिंह, श्री जयप्रकाश दलाल साहब का पीए का मैसेज आया। वो एनी मूवमेंट, एक कोई अपनी कैबिनेट की मीटिंग में बिजी है, एनी मूवमेंट वो ज्वाइन करेंगे। ही इज वेरी कीन टू स्पीक टू एड्रेस टू ऑल ऑफ अस ऑन दिस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट ऑफ बायोमास। मैं एक बार फिर आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं। और अब मैं आता हूं एग्रीफेड के बारे में। हम लोगों ने बहुत बातें की हैं। एग्रीफेड के जो इस समय यंग डायनेमिक मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर है श्री जसकरण सिंह जी, उनके कलीग जसकरण जी बैठे हुए हैं, उनके कलीग हैं मिस्टर राजीव कुमार, वह एग्रीफेड की तरफ से कि एग्रीफेड कैसे गेयरअप है। एंड आई विल रिक्वेस्ट राजीव जी टू कीप इट कन्फाइंड। पूरी एग्रीफेड की टीम देखिए, आप लोग देख लेते हैं, सब लोग बैठे हुए, दे आर मेकिंग नोट्स and very interested to be a very important part of your team, and they will ensure कि आपका जो 1 लाख टन पर डे का पेलेट का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का टारगेट है, पावर प्लांट्स को कंट्री में चाहिए, एग्रीफेड एज ए बॉडी विल डू एवरीथिंग। सो नाउ आई इनवाइट श्री राजीव कुमार फ्रॉम एग्रीफेड, who just sitting by the side of the एग्रीफेड टीम and the MD श्री जसकरण जी, कि बताएं इस पूरे फोरम को कि अब एग्रीफेड कैसे क्या कर रही है, कैसे हम इस 1 लाख टन के टारगेट को जल्दी से जल्दी आई रिपीट दिस वर्ड अचीव करने में हेल्प करेंगे। श्री राजीव जी अनम्यूट करिए। राजीव जी आपको, हाँ प्लीज।
गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई एम ईगरली वेटिंग फॉर ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर श्री जेपी दलाल जी, मिस्टर प्रवीण गुप्ता जी, मिस्टर सुदीप नाग जी, Gurpreet Singh ji, and our MD Jaskaran ji. I welcome all, and it has been a wonderful session till yet, and we want to congratulate the organizer हमारे छोटे भाई, उन्होंने अच्छा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन किया। Agrifed being agriculture and marketing federation and being in apex position, we are very much keen in developing a supply chain model for pellet and other biomass-based products, either that is briquette or other aspects of biomass. I would take this session more on Hindi now because I think Victor would have some problem with that, but I think Victor would understand this thing because our listeners are majorly from industry and I want to address them as well. तो इस पूरी सप्लाई चेन में जहां तक मैंने अभी गुरप्रीत जी को सुना और सुदीप नाग जी को सुना, प्रवीण गुप्ता जी को सुना, सब एक बात पर कंसर्न अपनी रखते हैं कि सप्लाई चेन इज द इशू एंड हियर एग्रीफेड इज द की एलिमेंट ऑफ दिस होल सप्लाई चेन। जब तक आप सप्लाई चेन को इकट्ठा बांधकर एक जगह पर नहीं स्थापित करोगे, तब तक किसी भी तरह ना फार्मर, ना मशीनरी मैन्युफैक्चरर और ना जो जेनकोज हैं या जनरेशन कंपनीज हैं, उनको एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर लाया जा सकता है। एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर लाने के लिए हमें ओवरऑल एक असेसमेंट करनी चाहिए, व्हाट वी हैव, हाउ वी कैन कलेक्ट, व्हाट वी कैन डू विद दैट कलेक्शन, and what is the time frame we have with us. The most important hurdle in biomass supply chain is the time window. ये 30 to 45 days की जो टाइम विंडो हमें मिलती है, उसी दौरान पर लगभग सारे साल की प्रोक्योरमेंट आपको करनी है। उसी समय पर आपके फार्मर के फील्ड को खाली करना है, उसको स्टोर करना है और उसके बाद उसी स्टोरेज का यूटिलाइजेशन आपने बनाने के लिए करना है। सो व्हाट वी आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड पर कि हम क्लस्टराइजेशन करें। बायोमास में भी कई कंपोनेंट हैं। एक कंपोनेंट है जो पाउडर के तौर पर इस्तेमाल होता है और एक कंपोनेंट है जो प्योरली इंडस्ट्रियल यूटिलाइजेशन के लिए, बर्निंग के लिए होता है। लेकिन एक कंपोनेंट ऐसा भी है जिसकी मल्टीपल यूटिलाइजेशन है और धीरे धीरे पराली वो मल्टी यूटिलाइजेशन फैक्टर बनता जा रहा है। जिस चीज को अभी तक हम एक प्रॉब्लम समझ रहे थे, मुझे लग रहा है अगले 2 या 3 साल में वो प्रॉब्लम सिटी में बदल जाएगी। आज जिस तरह से हमारे टेक्नोलॉजिकल डेवलपमेंट और रिक्वायरमेंट्स जनरेट हो रही है, तो वी हैव टू एग्रीगेट दिस थिंग। हमें एक काम सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी जो करना चाहिए वो है ये जो पैलेट मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हमारे जो भाई जिन्होंने पैलेट प्लांट्स लगाए हैं, ब्रिकेट प्लांट्स लगाए हैं, इनकी स्ट्रेंथनिंग अगर होगी तो ये अपनी स्ट्रेंथनिंग होने पर ये आगे स्ट्रेंथ देंगे फार्मर को और यही स्ट्रेंथ मिलेगी इंडस्ट्री को। तो जो मैन्युफैक्चरर है उसको इस हिसाब से स्ट्रेंथन करना बहुत जरूरी है। और उसकी स्ट्रेंथनिंग होती कैसे? 2 फैक्टर हैं उसके। एक है उसकी रॉ मटेरियल अवेलेबिलिटी, उसको अवेलेबल है क्या उतना रॉ मटेरियल जितनी उसकी कैपेसिटी है। सेकंड है कि उसे उस 30 डेज की विंडो में पूरे साल का रॉ मटेरियल खरीदना है, तो क्या उसकी फाइनेंशियल कैपेसिटी है, व्हाट फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स दे हैव कि भाई जिनसे उनका वो स्टोरेज कैपेसिटी बढ़ सके, अदरवाइज फिर वो मार्केट पर रह जाते हैं। तो हमें यहाँ इस पूरी अगर प्रॉब्लम को हम तोड़ें, ठीक है हमारे पास आज एनटीपीसी की रिक्वायरमेंट है, दे आर वेरी मच विलिंग टू परचेज इन बल्क क्वांटिटी, बट द थिंग इज इंडस्ट्री को हमारे साथ ये आना, एग्रीफेड बीइंग अ मिडल चैनल फॉर a platform for farmers, manufacturers and the power generation companies, आपको हमारे साथ कोलैबोरेट करना पड़ेगा। कोलैबोरेट ये ना केवल डिमांड और सप्लाई के उसमें, बल्कि आपको हमें R&D सपोर्ट भी देनी पड़ेगी, आपको हमें फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट भी देनी पड़ेगी। हम आपको इसके बदले में आपको फार्मर का इंटीग्रेशन देंगे, हम आपको सप्लाई चेन देंगे, हम आपको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सर्विसेज देंगे, हम आपको जो मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं उनकी ऑनबोर्डिंग देंगे। लेकिन यहाँ इंडस्ट्री को हमारे साथ बिल्कुल कदम से कदम मिलाकर चलना पड़ेगा, तभी इस सॉल्यूशन को हम पकड़ पाएंगे। और इसके लिए जो हमारी अपनी कोशिशें हैं वो मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा। वी आर वर्किंग एज ए नोडल एजेंसी विद मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनिमल हस्बेंड्री फॉर फॉडर एंड पराली सप्लाई चेन। हम एसबीआई से हमारी बात हुई है, हम लोग वी आर ऑलमोस्ट ऑन द वर्ज ऑफ साइनिंग एन एमओयू टू फाइनेंस this procurement of raw material and storage of their raw material for these plants. We are bringing different government schemes on this loop so that they can set up the plants and they can have a particular kind of rotational fund with that. We are proposing an MIS scheme, market intervention scheme. अभी पीछे बात हुई, गुरप्रीत सिंह जी ने कहा कि प्राइस का इशू है। यस, प्राइस का इशू है। अब एक ये कमोडिटी बनती जा रही है, तो इसके प्राइस की इसकी स्टोरेज भी हो रही है, प्राइवेट स्टोरेज भी हो रही है, तो वो प्राइवेट स्टोरेज किक कर रही है प्राइसेस को हायर साइड। तो इसलिए इसका एक मार्केट इंटरवेंशन स्कीम भी हम प्रपोज कर रहे हैं मिनिस्ट्री को कि इसके तहत एक कॉर्पस फंड हो, रिवॉल्विंग फंड हो, जिस फंड का इस्तेमाल फार्मर से के फील्ड से उस शॉर्ट विंडो में उस जो मशीनरी सप्लायर्स हैं, जो एग्रीगेटर्स हैं, उनके थ्रू हम ये उस फंड का यूटिलाइज करके स्टोरेज डिपोज बना सकते हैं। हमारा एस्पेक्ट है हम डिफरेंट डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाइज मल्टीपल लोकेशंस पर स्टोरेज डिपोज बनाएं जहां ये अबंडेंस है। जहां डेफिसिट है वहां पर अबंडेंस एरिया से हम ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सुविधा उपलब्ध कराएं आफ्टर बिलिंग दैट रॉ मटेरियल। वो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन हम उनको दें जिन्होंने दूर दराज में पावर प्लांट्स के नजदीक में अपने प्लांट लगा रखे हैं, लेकिन वहां पर उनको बायोमास इतना नहीं अवेलेबल है बेशक, तो भी हम वी वांट टू चैनलाइज दैट ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सिस्टम फ्रॉम डेफिसिट फ्रॉम अबंडेंस टू द डेफिसिट, from surplus to the deficit. There are certain pockets, certain areas where abundance is there, where surplus capacity is there. But we need these power plants in each every corner of this country. तो उनके बीच में आपस में सप्लाई चेन को भी हम एस्टेब्लिश करेंगे। उसके लिए हम एक MIS फंड करना चाह रहे हैं। हम चाह रहे हैं कि इसके साथ बायोमास पे या खासकर पैलेट या ब्रिकेट पे जो भी इनका एक सर्टेन बेंचमार्किंग हो प्राइस की, तो दैट सभी मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को ये पता हो कि मेरे पास मैं जितनी कैपेसिटी मैं यूटिलाइज करूंगा अपने प्लांट की, मेरे को इतना सर्टेन एक एस्पेक्ट रहेगा। अब इसकी फिक्सिंग के लिए ये मार्केट ड्रिवन एक एस्पेक्ट है, इसमें रॉ मटेरियल प्राइसेस भी मैटर करते हैं, इसमें ट्रांसपोर्ट कॉस्ट भी मैटर करते हैं। इनको सबको एक ये तब संभव है एक पर्टिकुलर बेंचमार्किंग प्राइसेस जब सभी एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म पर आपस में कन्वे कर रहे हो, कन्वर्सेशन कर रहे हैं। इस प्लेटफॉर्म को हम इस इंडस्ट्री को देना चाह रहे हैं। बीइंग एग्रीफेड, वी वांट टू प्रेजेंट दिस प्लेटफॉर्म टू द इंडस्ट्री, टू द मैन्युफैक्चरर्स, टू द पावर प्लांट्स एंड टू द फार्मर एग्रीगेटर who is storing this biomass. तो इस एक सिंगल प्लेटफॉर्म पर अगर हम सब होंगे तो देन इट विल बी मोर इजी टू असर्टेन ए पर्टिकुलर प्राइस, और उसके बाद हम उन मैन्युफैक्चरर्स की जो मशीनरी रिक्वायरमेंट है उनकी R&D को भी समझ पाएंगे कि किस तरह के प्रोडक्ट हमें चाहिए, किस तरह के प्रोडक्ट के लिए और काम करना चाहिए। जैसे अभी पीछे एक बात हमारे साथ ही बैठे उन्होंने एक बात कही कि आपका GCV यूजुअली 3,500 से 4,500 का रहता है, उसके बजाय अगर एक प्रोसेस पायरोलाइसिस का एक प्रोसेस उन्होंने इन्वेंट किया, वो अगर करते हैं तो वो GCV बढ़कर 7,000 से 8,000। सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स आर देयर, पीपल आर वर्किंग ऑन दैट, बट उनके लिए उस प्लेटफॉर्म का नहीं पता उनको, तो वी वांट टू प्रोवाइड दैट प्लेटफॉर्म टू देम कि भाई जो नया R&D भी कर रहा है वो भी आए ताकि सबको पता चले, उसका प्रोपगेशन हो सके। तो ये हमारा प्राइस स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन ऑफ GCV, क्रेडिट फैसिलिटी, खासकर मैन्युफैक्चर का जो हम बड़ा इसमें चाह रहे हैं कि इंडस्ट्री अपना एक कदम आगे बढ़ाए इसमें, क्योंकि इंडस्ट्री की डिमांड है। और वो सब इंडस्ट्री ठीक है, वो एनवायरमेंट की भी डिमांड है, गवर्नमेंट की भी डिमांड है, एज ए ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एस्पेक्ट भी है, बट यहाँ इंडस्ट्री भी एक बड़ा फैक्टर है जो अपना एक हाथ बढ़ाए स्मॉल प्लांट्स होल्डर्स के लिए, ताकि उनको कुछ क्रेडिट फैसिलिटीज बने। कोई इस तरह का हम आपस में एक एमओयू साइन कर सके जिसको बैंक ओनर करे, जिसके ब्याह पर बैंक की क्रेडिट फैसिलिटी आगे ट्रांसफर कर सके स्मॉल मैन्युफैक्चरर्स। So these are the things which we are working on. तो मैं चाहता हूं कि I welcome everyone to join hands with Agrifed. प्लीज आइए, हमारे साथ जुड़िए, हमारे पार्ट बनिए. Let us resolve this issue for once for all. And इसके बाद हम जो भी बनाएं, whatsoever we make, इसका एक ऐसा मॉडल सप्लाई चेन में कि लोगों को भी लगे कि सबके लिए आसान है. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rajiv ji. That's a good assurance from the side of the Agrifed. I also, being so strongly associated with Agrifed, feel very encouraged कि जो कंट्री का टारगेट है 1 लाख टन पर डे का, हम सबके लिए एक बेंचमार्किंग है. This will decide our rate of success or our success, how efficiently we are able to contribute in meeting our country this target of 1 lakh ton per day. हमारे लिए एक यही गुरु मंत्र है जिसपे हमें रात दिन सोचना है. हम बहुत सारे लोगों ने FPOs की बात की, फार्मर्स प्रोड्यूस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. हमने बहुत सारे लोगों को इस फोरम पे आज जोड़ा है. अब हमारे जो नेक्स्ट स्पीकर हैं श्री सुभाष बिश्नोई जी, जो हिसार हरियाणा से हैं. इनका एक अपना FPO है कैंपको के नाम से, who is connected with thousands of farmers. वो कैसे, वो अपने हार्ट को व्यूज देंगे, वो कैसे करके इस पेलेट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के टारगेट में बायोमास का जो मिशन है उसमें वो क्या फील करते हैं और उनका क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन होगा. सो आई रिक्वेस्ट श्री सुभाष जी टू स्पीक फॉर फ्यू मिनट्स ऑन दिस, एंड देन वी विल गो टू मिस्टर विक्टर हु इज विद अस फ्रॉम नीदरलैंड्स. ही हैज जॉइंड. ही इज द कंट्रीज बिगेस्ट पेलेट मशीन मैन्युफैक्चरर, and what then we will listen to his views. So Shri Subhash ji now, FPO chairman Camco. Subhash ji, मुझे लगता है उनका डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया, वो अभी थे. Anyway, in the meantime I'll then go to Mr. Victor from who had joined us, who is presently in Turkey, I think, if I am not incorrect at the moment. Yeah, so now let's listen to Victor as to how he will contribute in this mission of India.
Yes, thank you, Sanjay. And indeed, I'm calling in from Turkey. I'm here at the moment. But like you already said, originally from the Netherlands. First of all, thank you for allowing me to have a few minutes of all of your time to speak here. So far, I've already really enjoyed listening to the presentations of my co-speakers today. I think we had an already very interesting session. I myself have been very much associated with the Indian market already since 2018, when these first concepts came in. Largely involved also in the meetings. There's somebody talking in between. No. In the policy making, raw material choices. So I've been following it, and I can see that now the last year and a half, I think there's a flipping point now in India where this is really taking place and it's materializing into what was envisioned 5 years ago. So I'm very happy to see that. I also have prepared a presentation from my end, so I'll try to share my screen as possible. Can somebody allow me to do that?
Yeah, it's being done. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can. No, I have to allow that.
I have got hundreds of questions now the audience are so excited to ask questions. I've got a huge list. I don't know how many questions we will be able to handle.
We'll see how far we get. 1 second.
Yeah.
It is not allowing from my side to share my screen.
रखे रहें, कहना नहीं तो बाद में आपको ईमेल पे लिखिए, हम ऑर्डर करते हैं आपको। क्वेश्चन पहले मुझे दिखा दो, मुझे लिख के दो कौन कौन से टॉपिक ये ले आओ। Screen sharing?
No, I don't think you can see my screen, right?
No.
No, I'll see if it works, but unfortunately it's not allowing it from my side. I don't know, maybe it's because of the location I'm at. But then I'll talk through my presentation. I think that will also work. So today, actually, what I would like to do is a brief introduction on CPM as a company, what we do, how our presence is in India, and how I see the ecosystem, because I think I've seen a few of the other speakers also mentioning that it is an ecosystem with various stakeholders that all need to play a role to make sure that we achieve the targets that are now set. The numbers we keep on hearing is 40,000 metric tons soon, 100,000 metric ton per day, 200,000 ton per day are the numbers that we need to get to, which is going to be a complete joint effort of all the different parties here in the Indian market. So CPM itself is originally, it stands for California Pellet Mill. It is one of the largest pellet mill manufacturers in the world, both for the animal feed manufacturing and biomass production. In biomass, we are the biggest player in the world. We have very high quality, durable machines that we have done over 1,500 projects worldwide in biomass. In India, currently, we have around, I think, 20 different installations, ranging anywhere from 2 ton per hour to up to 10 ton per hour lines. The company is about a 5,000 crore annual turnover company with more than 1,000 employees worldwide. We have had a presence in Bangalore since 2017, which is in a cooperation with a company NXT Trades, Market Expansion Services, and NXT Green, which is into biomass to fuel delivery. We are active all over the world, from Europe, Russia, Southeast Asia, India, Africa, North and South America, basically anywhere. The thing I had visualized in my presentation, but unfortunately I'm not able to show that right now, but is that in India and basically worldwide, especially in the beginning of an ecosystem like this developing, there are 3 types of manufacturers. Right? If you have to reach 40,000 metric ton per day and 200,000 eventually, then there are different players needed to together fulfill that requirement. So number 1 is the big investors. So these are high capacity projects. Think about 100 ton per day and more in production. If you look at manufacturing options for biomass on the biggest machines, what we also have, one machine a pellet machine can produce roughly 5 ton per hour at max. So that means that one line running for 20 hours a day is roughly 100 ton per day production. Anything above that, you can multiply the line, build it modular, because it's sizing of the line between bigger grinding stations in feeding into 2 or 3 pellet mills possible. But these bigger investors, high capacity projects are most likely the MNCs, the large corporates, governments quite often that even invest in this, private power companies that invest in own infrastructure to produce, and maybe even organizations like Agrifed itself. The second group of manufacturers are the MSMEs. These are most likely new entrepreneurs, people who now see the opportunity that there is demand creation for pellets in the market. they will invest. I think an investment maybe roughly 3 to 4 crore maybe for a line to set up a decent, very quality 50 ton per day production, roughly. And quite often this would be a mix of modern equipment, imported equipment, and local feeding equipment and line equipment, right? To make sure that the total budget is acceptable, but you have high quality core equipment to make sure that you have a high quality output with a good production volume. The third group is quite often the small investors. This is if you visualize a pyramid, it's at the ground layer. It's the small investors, proprietorships, new entrepreneurs, most likely a production of less than 15 ton per day, roughly there, and working on traditional and local equipment. Now, the director of Jindal already mentioned there are some issues in that production. It's less consistent. There will be higher power consumption. There is more breakdown. So the people who buy the dependency of the pellets will be high, and then the supply will not always match that. The continuity is not there. But on the other hand, it's a very important group to start the ecosystem with, because it's a lower investment within a small investment. A lot of people can get it started, and you will see that the ecosystem will start forming. And together with the mid segment and the higher segment of that pyramid, you will get the power, the fuel consumption and production that you need. Again, too bad I can't show this, but if the pyramid that I have here in front of me, and I want to explain to you, is that if you look at 40,000 ton per day, and roughly 20% of that would be produced by that top segment of higher volume, that means that to reach that 20%, or at least 80 plants, 80 factories need to be there to produce 100 ton per day to fulfill 20% of 40,000 ton per day fulfillment. If you look at 200,000 ton per day and still 20% in the top segment, you're going to need 400 plants. So 400 big corporates, larger MNCs who run with very, very sophisticated, high capacity, high quality equipment, like what we supply CPM and some other players in the market. That will be 400 plants. The mid segment, which contributes maybe 65% of the production, would be 500 plants for the 40,000 ton per day and 2,500 plants for the 200,000 ton per day. The lower segments, averaging maybe 15% of the total contribution, would again be 400 plants for 40,000 and 2,000 plants for the 200,000 ton per day. So meaning there will be thousands manufacturing sites required throughout India to achieve 40,000 ton per day, and 5,000 plants of various sizes in the different levels running on different types of equipment to reach 200,000 ton per day. And I think this I would like to highlight, because this is where it becomes very, very important to see that we are here in a joint effort. We as CPM, we cannot supply 5,000 plants in all the different variations and ranges and production capacities. Nobody else will. So it's a joint effort of the technology suppliers, of the policymakers, of the entrepreneurs who set in the investment to start producing pellets, and the buyers to keep on generating the demand. This ecosystem is where the importance here comes in. And therefore, I currently don't see this as a competitor's market. I very much see it as a joint effort market, because there is the demand and the material to reach, and everybody will be needed and having to play their own role to make sure that that ecosystem is fulfilled. The transition which you will start seeing later in this ecosystem is that in the beginning, a lot of the small players will start coming in. They produce 15 ton per day. They will try to secure one supply contract with the NTPC, for example. They either fail or they're successful. Apologies, there's somebody at my door. That ecosystem will start coming, and the transition will come then from getting the the smaller players will either grow up into the market and they will start increasing their capacities because they have seen what is possible. Or they might move out. This is also because the non-continuity of their production. They might find some issues with supply, with getting their overheads covered, and they might move out of the market. The mid segment, which is the 50 ton per day, 40, 50 ton per day production, these people, they very likely they're becoming successful and they will move to the top segment, where eventually the newcomers will most likely all come in the top segment on the higher capacity ranges because it's a proven business case. The investment risk will be less because of proof of concept, and you'll see that more and more the contribution will come from the top of the pyramid, higher capacity manufacturers. Where I see, therefore, that's again, as a non-competitive market at the moment, which we should not focus on. I think there's a place for everybody. This total ecosystem will grow from a small pie, which it is right now, to an extremely big pie for anybody involved in the business. That comes from our side, technology equipment supplier, and even and also the suppliers, the buyers. So the pie will grow, therefore for the market share for every player in this market will automatically grow with it. Trying to develop it instead of trying to compete it. That is my advice to basically all the stakeholders in this field. Then I see the involved stakeholders that we have is government segments and associations. So these are policy making and demand creation and funding and financing. I think that's what we already saw in some of the other presentations, is that there's a lot of subsidies available, a lot of promoting of doing financial support for the potential entrepreneurs who quite often want, but lack of funding might be an issue to set up a proper running manufacturing plant. The power and processing plants, both private power, but also like we saw from the NTPC presentation, even the pharma, food, paints, cement, all these industries are also looking to buy biomass pellets, so the demand creation will be there. Farmers and FPOs as a very important stakeholder to make sure that there's feedstock supply, and throughout the year and at a consistent price level, because I think that price level should not fluctuate too much, to make sure that we do not make manufacturers of pellets dependent on a feedstock supply and then that they've been pushed out of the market because the raw material prices are going up. I think there's also a role to play for the government to manage those price levels. Then, of course, the entrepreneurs and corporates who are going to invest in actually setting up the pellet machines, again, in 3 different segments of capacity and quality. And technology suppliers, so that people like ourselves, but also local equipment suppliers, they all come in to do equipment supply. And from our side, absolutely the knowledge transfer. Now, how can we help in this segment as CPM, with experience that we have for 130 years worldwide, being in this industry and having tested more than 150 types of materials successfully pelleted, running at a minimum of 40 or 50 different material operations in the world on different types of materials. So we can supply high quality premium equipment. This bottom of the pyramid with the small capacity is not our target group. We're not looking at it. I think they're important for the ecosystem, but not for me as an equipment supplier, because it will not reach the budgets and the capacity predictions they have. Our equipment is very high quality pellet outputs, meaning that it's high durability, high density, uniform sizes. All this is for easier handling and better JCV at the end of the line. We ensure continuous manufacturing, so that we have a 24/7 operation that is basically able to run with only scheduled maintenance, therefore improving the dependency of the buyers of the pellets. Because if you fine-tune your co-firing process and you need a certain amount of tons every day, you're dependent on your suppliers to get there. So if there's breakdown at the supplier side, then quite often there will also be a lack of supply, and therefore there are issues with the tuning of your co-firing. So we ensure that our manufacturers can have a continuous supply of their own manufacturing, because it's 24/7 equipment. We have the lowest power consumption. Our efficiency rates of converting power into an actual pellet, it requires a specific energy, which ranges somewhere between 40 to, in certain materials, 75 or 80 kilowatts per ton. That efficiency of the motor, we can transfer 98% into the pellet, where in very often in other equipment suppliers or more traditional equipment suppliers, this efficiency is only around 60 or 70%, losing the purpose a bit of trying to become more carbon neutral and to have power saving solutions or green power solutions, and then putting more power into the actual production of your fuel. We do a lot of, like I said earlier, funding might be an issue to set up new equipment or pellet manufacturing units and buy good equipment. So since this year, we have started offering our equipment under lease. This is basically to help shape the ecosystem and to have a lower entry barrier for our potential buyers, who are pellet manufacturers, to make sure that they, without having too much of their working capital sunken into their capex investments, that they can run it under lease.
Victor, you have 1 minute more. We have a lot of questions also, and a message from the minister, which I want to announce. So if you could finish in 1 minute, that would be helpful.
No problem, I do that. So then another thing that we would like to help with is the know-how transfer, of course. We are very happy to help in policy making or raw material selections, training of potential investors. I think there might be a lot here today also. We can help in ROI studies. How do you earn back your investment, best practices, CapEx and OpEx analysis. We are very happy to help and invest our time and knowledge into the transfer to the potential entrepreneurs so that we can help shape this ecosystem. Then maybe a few points to consider for setting up the right pellet mill or pellet manufacturing plant is that, of course, if too many of the setups would fail, then we are destructing the ecosystem. Then the word goes out in the market that this is not profitable. This is very hard to maintain. You have a lot of breakdowns. So we have to make sure that together we ensure these investors to be successful. They have to choose the raw material, proper material and equipment, good installation, good process control, training of staff locally, and realistic OpEx budgets to ensure that their ROI studies are correct, and proper maintenance of the equipment so that it keeps running. I think these are a few points. I can go into a lot more detail on the technicalities and the process flow and setup, but as you said, I think we can move on to the next presentation. I was happy to share some of this, and my apologies that I couldn't show the presentation, but it didn't go through.
Thank you very much, Victor. I'm sure you are aware, as a country, we have an excellent program going on that is called Make in India.
Yeah.
You have understood how huge is the requirement as a country we have for pellets.
Yeah.
1,000 tons of pellets are needed every day. And therefore, you should also have a vision of something long-term, kind of finding a strategic Indian, setting up, starting your own manufacturing here to ensure efficient after-sales service and supply of parts. So if you also match your vision with the vision of the country that is Make in India, that will help you in securing and having good business, because we have the huge business potential as a country here. Some 200 power plants, 100,000 tons of pellets. It's a huge task. So you have also that you need thousands of pellet making units. So with this, now if Mr. Subhas Badu, I think he has reached the office of Agrifed. So hundreds of questions with me now. I don't know how many we would be able to have, but I've got a message also from the minister. He has thanked all the policymakers, especially Sri Sudeep Nagji, Gurpreet Singh ji, that he could not make it possible. Somehow he is still busy with the meeting with the chief minister. He has expressed that he would like meeting with the policymakers, all these key people here, and discuss the government involvement, how the government can push up this mission for he ensure his personal involvement and expedite this project of pellet making. So if you permit, Sri Praveen Gupta sir, Sudeep Nag sir, I've got hundreds of questions. If you could permit, we can take some 2-3 questions. And the audience are very, very excited. A lot of pellet manufacturers are there. The biomass producers are. So I invite Mr. Rajesh Mundra. Mr. Subhas Bishnoi is there. Would you like to say something from the side of as a FPO? Or he is not there. I think he is not there, Mr. Subhas Bishnoi. So I invite Mr. Rajesh Mundra. He has a question he has been sending. So if you could unmute him, Mr. Rajesh Mundra, can you please ask your question? In the this person is Mr. Jignesh. If you could kindly ask Mr. Divyanshu Kumar, because all these questions cannot be taken. If you could write, each and every question will be answered from the side of the Agrifed in whatever manner we can help you in meeting your mission. Mr. Kumar,
yes, sir. Hello.
Hello.
you can ask your question.
Am I audible?
Yeah, please identify yourself. Hello.
Sir, my question is from NTPC, when they will restore the purchase process for biomass pellets. Right now, they have called the tender. Hello.
Rajesh ji, am I audible?
हाँ जी.
Actually, ये tender process तो restore हो गया है. Already we have opened Moda, Gadarwara, Khargon. Tomorrow, Monday we are opening Khargon. Already this process is restarted. There are some issues which are resolved now, and we have started opening the bids.
Yes.
Already 3 stations we have opened.
Hello.
Sir, एक क्वेश्चन और है. Does NTPC support in-house production of biomass pellet briquette, which can put the cost of the product?
Yes, sir. This question was of mine. I'm Divyanshu Kumar.
Yeah.
So this was question for NTPC, sir. Divyanshu Kumar from Jharkhand. So here the per unit land of the farmer is very less. So we need to make clusters. So my question was from NTPC that if we can make those clusters nearby to the plant, so that the one more cost, that is the transportation cost, which is a big cost, that can be reduced. So if we make those clusters near to the plant and we deal with the in-house production in the plant itself, so this can reduce the cost, various recurring costs. So does NTPC support that?
Actually, right now, what is happening that we are asking people to quote in our tenders, and they are free to set up a plant anywhere they want. So it is very beneficial if you set up a plant near NTPC plant, so that your transportation cost will be reduced. So we welcome that move that you set up a plant near NTPC plant. What support you want from NTPC?
Sir, not nearby. It means that if you can set in-house production with the NTPC, with the support of NTPC, or by agreement with the NTPC, or by various methods, such that NTPC will be involved in the plant itself. So we want such type of setup for Jharkhand itself. I'm speaking for Jharkhand because I basically belong from Jharkhand. So if we can have a in-house production for the NTPC in the plant itself, so that it can be a good deal.
It is better if you can meet us and tell us about your proposal. Then it can be discussed on case-to-case basis.
Sir, what can be the way to?
संजय जी,
You can reach out to my office in Noida.
प्रवीण गुप्ता बोल रहा हूँ। मैं यही कह रहा था कि जो इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस है, आई थिंक दे कैन मीट और कॉन्टेक्ट समर्थ बायोमास मिशन। मिस्टर सुदीप नाग जी को ये कॉन्टेक्ट कर सकते हैं, एंड 1-to-1 आई थिंक वी कैन टेक दोज इश्यूज। क्योंकि
Sir, it will be better if you can provide some in the chat box. How can we contact you?
हाँ, सुदीप नाग जी, आप चैट बॉक्स में कैन यू प्लीज पुट अप योर कॉन्टेक्ट ईमेल एंड वेबसाइट। ऑल्दो वेबसाइट इज देयर, यू कैन गो टू समर्थ वेबसाइट, वहां पर सारी डिटेल्स हैं। बट आई एम रिक्वेस्टिंग मिस्टर सुदीप नाग जी टू पुट हिज कॉन्टेक्ट डिटेल्स in the chat box so that anybody can contact them.
मैं अपना प्रेजेंटेशन का एंड में दिखाया था, हमारा जो प्रेजेंट ये नंबर है, फोन नंबर है एंड मेल आईडी है, और समर्थ मिशन का जो वेबसाइट है वहां पे भी ये दिया हुआ है, मेल आईडी एंड कॉन्टैक्ट्स दिया हुआ है, तो यू कैन वेरी वेल कॉन्टैक्ट। ठीक है,
फिर सुदीप जी आप अपने इस चैट बॉक्स में जस्ट ईमेल आईडी दे दें, है ना? सो इट विल
लेट मी सी वेदर आई कैन गिव इट।
हाँ,
Agrifed will develop. Agrifed will be responding to.
ठीक है, no problem.
I think this is the mail ID I have written. Please, you can.
Thank you very much, because many speakers are contacting me separately. They have other commitments also. So with this, I thank you very much from my side, from the side of the Agrifed, to all the eminent speakers who have made this program possible. Take all. Yeah, so with this, I thank you very much once again to Sri Praveen Gupta ji, Member Thermal, Sri Sudeep Nag ji, Director National Biomass Mission, Sri Anil Pandey, Sri Gurpreet Singh ji, Sri Jaskiran Singh ji, Sri Subhash Badu, and Mr. Victor. It has been, we will keep interacting, and the target for each one of us is to meet the demand of the country, which is 1 lakh ton of pellet manufacturing. So with this, if the speakers permit me, because there are questions are many, I have requested all these people to write an email and they will be answered. Their questions will be handled through email. It's not possible to take each and every question here. So I thank everybody, and if somebody from the side of the speakers would like to something to all of us, I invite to if Praveen Gupta sir would like to say something, or
yeah. नहीं, मैं 2 मिनट बोलना चाहूंगा। आई थिंक संजय जी, ये बहुत ही बढ़िया एक इनिशिएटिव लिया है आपने। थिंग्स व्हिच वी वर आल्सो नॉट अवेयर, वी हैव बीन एबल टू डिस्कस दोस, and in future I assured you that we will be interacting more on this subject, and whatever assistance or anything you need from our side, we will be happy to do that. And you know the intention of the government that we have to fire biomass pellets, and for that we have already created Samarth Mission, and they are dedicated team only looking after biomass utilization in thermal power plants. So whatever help can be given from our side, we assure you that we will be giving that. Thank you.
सर, सबसे बड़ी हेल्प सबको एक ही चाहिए। अगर किसी तरीके से आप लोग एक प्राइस फिक्सिंग क्राइटेरिया
तो वो मैंने आपको बताया that we are working on it. This thing has been highlighted, and we are working seriously on this issue, and I think your participation will also be important in that, how to fix benchmark price, and definitely we will contact you and try to take your views in that meeting. Thank you.
So now, sir, this is Shivam Mungia. So sorry to interrupt, sir. Can I speak for 1 minute or 30 seconds?
अभी आते हैं मोंगिया सर आपके पास. I will in the meantime I will just request at the last to Sri Sudeep Nagi. He is the director Biomass Mission of India, who's guiding the whole country towards the biomass utilization. To see would be able to take 1-2 more questions, because Mr. Nag is also committed for another assignment. He also has to leave. Nag, if you, what is that, after hearing to each one of us, what is that you would like to communicate at the last, at the head of the mission?
Yeah, I think it's a very good initiative by Agrifed to bring all the stakeholders today and also the policymakers in a single platform. We have been doing a lot of interactions with different stakeholders over the last 1.5 years. And I must thank many stakeholders, whether it is farmers, farmer organizations, entrepreneur organizations, for giving us input on which we are taking different actions. And many developments which have taken place today from the policy side, from the guideline side, those have come as a result of feedback from the stakeholders only. So we believe that it is only through interaction we can understand the requirement of all the stakeholders and the requirement of the market, requirement of the sector, and accordingly we can take action. So we are totally associated with you all. We are not detached from anybody, and we are getting, I must say, we are getting excellent support from our seniors, from the ministries, from the Minister Power himself, from the Secretary himself, from the Joint Secretary Thermal, from the member Thermal CA, from CA Chairman, from NTPC Chairman, from NTPC Directors. We are getting support all along. And with this support only and individually, everybody has been taking different initiatives. So with this, we are progressing along with you all. And our purpose is to expand this biomass co-firing. It's a very challenging job, because any new establishment of this kind of sector, it takes time. It takes time. Initially, there would be hiccups, there would be problems. And I think we remember during the National Biomass Conference, it was discussed and it was mentioned by Honorable Union Power Secretary said that we are trying to establish biomass as a substitute of coal, whose supply chain and whose ecosystem has been developed over 100 years. Now we are trying to bridge the gap in a matter of 2, 3, 4 years. And I think we have progressed. We can go along with all of you. We are free to discuss, we are free to open, and you can interact, you can communicate to us for any kind of requirement. We will definitely come in contact with you for any kind of support and help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. It has been a wonderful session. Now the time is running out, so only one last question can be somehow accommodated from Mr. Mongia, whom we promised. So your question, sir, and after that, it will finally be the time to discuss. Yeah, Mr. Mongia.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir. Myself, Shiva Mungia from
you are audible. Please, sir.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, audible. Please speak, sir.
Okay, thank you. Sir, one last thing which Mr. Praveen Gupta ji and Mr. Sudeep Nag ji was informing us about, the price fixation. Sir, we request every dignitaries over here that before the price fixation, can you please have a meeting with all the pallet manufacturers, so that the price, which are the market prices for every processing cost, for the raw material prices, for the logistics and everything, which could be accommodated within the price fixation mechanism which you are planning to do. So the committee could have a meeting with many of the vendors which are listed with NTPC or the existing suppliers who are supplying to NTPC. So we request there could be a meeting for the price fixation specifically, so that if the price is fixed, it should be based on some experiences from the pallet manufacturers as well. This was only the suggestion or recommendation. This was only the point I wanted to raise.
Your point is well noted, Mr. Mungia. Agrifed would also be playing a significant role in the fixation of the prices. Hope you can write emails, send your suggestions through emails also, and wherever, in whatever manner it is possible, maximum number of people's participation will be invited before anything such, something like price fixation or something like can be bought. Definitely it will be tried, because the price has to be so practical that in the country, the whole ecosystem has to develop for pellet manufacturing. You know, NTPC officer said the present availability is 7,000 tons and we need 100,000 tons. The gap is huge, and therefore to reach to that ecosystem of pellet manufacturing, we need a very practical pricing so that everybody starts thinking of putting up a pellet manufacturing plant in the country. With this, I thank you very much to all the esteemed speakers, to all the participants, to the team from Agrifed, and especially if there we had a very, very respectable audience, some Mr. Sachdeva, who is a foreign expert speaker,
please.
very much visible. Almost every day I see him on TV. He was there in the audience. If he is there, I think he has left. So that was very nice to have him with us, Mr. Sachdeva. So with this, thank you very much to you all once again. It's over now. We are finishing this. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Webinar meeting.